Damn.
Hey everyone, welcome to Aero Sentinel's channel. Today we are going to go over the Brocock Commander HP Magnum in relation to the inlet fill port repair and or replacement. That way it'll help you folks with confidence that you could do it yourself. So hang tight, don't forget to share, subscribe and like the video if this is something that interests you folks and helps you folks out. Otherwise, thank you for watching anyway. So let's get to it. Alright, first things first, a disclaimer. If your rifle is brand spanking new and it starts leaking, we recommend go ahead and contact Brocock Commander. If you care about it, it's your rifle, you can do what you want, but we recommend if you care about your rifle, go ahead and contact Brocock via email, as well as your dealership that you purchased it from, and request permission, basically indicating the issue, that you know what needs to be done and you know the process and you are confident in doing the work yourself to help some of the agony and downtime with regards to repair. So yeah, and having to ship it and all of that nasty stuff, right? So you just want to get permission. That way you're basically expressing, hey, I don't want to void warranty by just touching this piece for the whole gun. I don't want to void warranty. I know what needs to be done. And if they gave you folks permission, go ahead. That's what we did. We basically said, hey, I have every confidence. I know what I'm doing. I'm completely capable. I know what needs to be sorted. It's not that difficult. And can I get permission? But I don't want to void warranty. Okay? And they said, yeah, go ahead. So that's what we did. We ultimately just went ahead and worked on it ourselves. We got, while we were waiting for the spare that was being sent from Brocock, we thought we had downtime, so we figured we'd do the work ourselves. And we went to a hydraulic shop and got lucky and replaced the O-ring. But ultimately it started leaking overall and blah blah blah. And we got fed up and got tired. Okay, and so we did a permanent fix by replacing this inlet fill port altogether. Okay, so we replaced this whole entire thing altogether. So before you proceed, you just want to make sure that the rifle itself is completely depleted of all pressure. Okay, not just the tank but also the gauge, not the gauge, the regulator pressure. Okay, to be extra cautious, just everything is empty. Okay, and first what we're gonna do here is remove our bipod to make things simpler, okay? And all you're doing is making sure you're completely empty, and then all you need for this process is a little tool, not an expensive one, a very simple one, like a needle nose plier like this. And you don't get a big one, but get a decent size, not the super thin, because it may pose a danger, or where it may break if it's super thin, the nose part, and you're using it the way it's not meant to be used. It's meant to clamp things or grab things, not twist things. So you need one that's hefty, decent to do the job. And all you do is grip it and you go counterclockwise. And if you find yourself having extra effort and it still doesn't budge, guess what? You still have pressure, okay? Because these things are not Loctited in place, okay? Make sure, double check everything is under pressure, and then just go slowly. Make sure you crank it left counterclockwise and go slowly each time. You don't want to just go gung-ho and start going, and if there's pressure, it'll ultimately fly back at you, all right? And you don't want to have that done. It's going to be painful. Okay, but you'll know if there are pressure in there, or there is pressure in there. It's going to start hissing on you. That indication, when it starts to hiss and goes kss, and you start hearing pressure or air leaving this area, stop. Okay, let it leak out. Okay, and then do it again, back it off more and go slow. All you need for this process is this tool and a flathead screwdriver that's decent size. You don't want it too small, undersized, and ultimately slipping and ruining your little groove here. Okay, you want to prevent that by getting a proper size flathead screwdriver. And all you do is the same thing. Hold it like this with one hand and put it into that hole, push it in and grip. Okay, now it's not going to move. Now be careful, because now you're using a potentially sharp object that could, if you misjudge your pressure and pushing too hard and it slips, you could stab yourself. So be careful. Okay, know your tools, know your capabilities, know your limits. Now you're gonna take the flathead screwdriver. This is already loose for the purposes of this video, and you just loosen it slowly. And this is where, once it's loose, all you need is your two hands, and this is where the towel comes in, just in case things starts flying. You won't have a bounce, and you potentially lose your piece. So all you're doing is slowly backing this off, and there's going to be that, and hopefully you folks won't see it here, but in this angle you'll see it. Okay, where you'll see this cap with a little hole through it, along with this brass fitting. It's not brass fitting, brass filter. Okay, if you see some debris, it's a good time to kind of get a clean, used toothbrush and brush it off some. Don't use compressed air, because if you make a misjudgment on your grip and use a compressed air, well, this is flying, and good luck finding it. It's very small. So that's all that is. It's a brass filter. Don't lose that. Okay, and you'll have a spring, and you'll get a little pick if it's still there. If the O-ring is already, if it's already leaking, guess what? The O-ring is around here. This will just fall out. The piston valve will just fall out, because the only thing that keeps it in there is either pressure or this O-ring. It fits in a perfectly measured area, so it just snaps into place, so to speak. That's what keeps the seal. Okay, now again, remember there's 3 ways to empty your rifle, to deplete your rifle. That's either shooting it out, or the very first thing is, if you're watching this video, you may already have a leak, and it probably all leaked out by the time you're watching this video. Just let it leak out. The second is to just shoot it out. The third is get a spanner wrench that's of proper size that can fit around this gauge, and go ahead just counterclockwise, slow. When I mean slow, until you start hearing a hiss, and then stop. Just let it leave all of the pressure out, leak all of the pressure out, and then again go slow and back it off more until you hear more pressure, and repeat until it's completely empty, and you'll know when there's no more pressure. It'll be a lot easier to remove, plus there's no more hissing sound. So those are the 3 ways, okay? Do not work in your system unless it's completely depleted of pressure, okay? And like I said, if you folks have difficulty removing this from the rifle, that means there's still pressure there, okay? So I repeat that because it's critical. You don't want to start removing things and eventually causing injury or worse. Okay, these are high pressure systems, and that's something you want to be cautious of always. So, and that's basically it. And if you're doing a repair and just putting back this O-ring or replacing the O-ring, just dab your finger on some silicone, 100% silicone, or a compatible grease, and just rub that O-ring in your fingers. You don't want to shoot it in there, okay? Because now all of the grease will go into your system and blah blah blah, right? You don't want that. You just want to make sure you lubricate it a little, and then you just put it back into where this little groove is at, okay? And then you just reverse the process. You push it in there, put the spring, okay? And then put the brass filter back into this little cap. Make sure it's flat. When it's in, make sure it's flat. Okay, then you want to do this and mate it together. Okay, you want to do that and mate it together like so. Hopefully you folks can see that. And just turn it until it's to that last bit. Now you want to take your tool again, jam it in as far as it can go into the hole, and grip, and then tighten it as much as you can, and then go ahead and screw it back, fill it to 1000 psi. Purge your line and remove your line, and then see if it leaks. If it doesn't, then you're good to go. Tighten it, put everything back the way it is, and shoot away, okay? But again, when you put it back, you just want to give a good go on it, you know, and make sure it's nice and tight. Of course, there's a significant amount of threads here, so it's not going to fly out on you if it's leaking. But if you just snug it, you know, comfortably tight, it shouldn't leak, okay? Now, if you are removing it to replace, ultimately, because it keeps leaking on you, well, you just need a little screwdriver or something small, and all you're doing at this point is taking this little nib and push it in. That will release that piece on your grip, that little plastic cover, latch, whatever you want to call it, okay? Then you take your Allen key, right? And there's a little bolt. You can feel it. I've done this many times. Dismantle, do whatever maintenance, so I know where it's at. And you know, you can peer in there. It's easy. You can look, and then you just loosen it. And the grip comes out, okay? Set it on the side. Okay, set that on the side. Now this piece, all you need to do is pull it out, you know, and here it is. Now you can easily work on it, okay? Obviously for this part, for the replacement, you're going to need a socket because you can no longer use this because there isn't a hole in the replacement, unlike the OEM factory part, okay? The new one will not have it. It's a socket type of tool that you will need in order to remove it or tighten it back into place, okay? So just make sure when you have it, you take a socket, make sure it fits properly. Once it fits, all you do is hand tighten first. Now this is the part you gotta be cautious. This rifle, this Brocock Commander, our Brocock Commander, came with the thread pattern is a 1/8 BSP type fitting, okay? 1/8 BSP. We got ours from Best Fittings UK, so it's 1/8 BSP fitting, okay? And just go ahead and order with your fill. Just go ahead and order the dust cap as well, along with your new inlet fill port. Because the magnet won't work. The magnetic dust cap that came with your rifle will not work with this piece, okay? If you're ordering from the same place as we have, okay? So that will save you the trouble of having to worry. But of course, if you folks don't want to order this and you just want to go ahead and use take your old one, take a nice decent size of those electrical shrink tubes, put it on this one, cut about yay big or yay long of piece, and you want to heat it while you put that tube in here, okay? I don't have one to show you folks, but yeah, you want to heat it up so that now it shrinks and forms to this port. Now you'll have a dust cover, and the end part, of course, is not going to be closed. So all you need to do is, when it's completely heated up on the end, you want to take that end and grip it close and hold it there until it cools, and then when you let go, now you got a sort of like a melted ends, and now you just need to cut off the excess to make it purty, and you're good. That's a homemade dust cap, okay? Otherwise, this one is nice. It's held by these ball bearing and O-ring. So anyway, and that's basically it. Of course, this one won't have the brass filter. You can't take this brass filter and fit it in that one. It won't fit. It's not made for it. So that's one thing. So just make sure if you drop this into the ground and gravel, use common sense, folks, and don't put it in there. Just because if you put it in there and the dirt gets in your inlet port and then you fill it, well, guess where that dirt is going? So just blow it out, clean it thoroughly, whatever you have to do to get the dirt out. Yeah, and that's all it is. That's you make sure you hand tighten first, you know, your new one, hand tighten, and if it goes down smooth, that means you got the proper, you may have ordered 1/8 BSP, but if they send you something else, like a M10 or quarter you know, 1/4 or other fittings out there, well, and it doesn't go in smooth, you should be able to hand screw it in, you know, hand screw or hand tighten until it gets to its final depth. And all you need to do is now take a tool and tighten it and crank it some. Okay, that's it. But if it goes only a few threads and then it kind of gets that restrictive or resistance, don't force it. That's going to cause you a rethread. Okay, you're gonna be you're rethreading or cross-threading the main body here. Okay, and that's something you don't want to do. Just go ahead and back it off and return it, whatever you have to do, or order a new one. Okay, so we're in America, and this one came in from the UK. Well, this one rather, sorry. And yeah, fairly quick actually. You know, we ended up wanting to just order this and ended up ordering a whole bunch of other stuff. So beware, guys. You get sucked into all the goodies. Okay, so, and that's basically it. Now once you got them in place, just fill it to about 1000 psi, and then disconnect your line, check, make sure that there's no leak whatsoever. Let it sit maybe for a good 5-10 minutes, watch the pressure, and if it doesn't drop, yeah, you're more than likely good. Okay, obviously if you get it to 1000 psi, it may drop to a few foot-pounds of pressure, because as it heats, it has the air shows more compression. That's not indicative of an actual leak. Okay, if it continues to drop, then that's indicative. That's a more than likely a clear sign that it is a leak. Okay, but if it just drops a few and then stabilizes, that's normal, because compressed air tends to have more pressure. Hot air tends to have more pressure than cool. Okay, as the air gets cool in your tank, it gets the pressure becomes more stable and it's actually less. Okay, so because air expands with heat, if you folks didn't know that. Okay, so anyway, now we're gonna put it back, and the process is obvious, but this is what you do. You kind of just slide it in place and done. Now the easy way is, if your bolt is no longer in its place and it's out like that, just make sure your washer is like so, and this curved piece is the piece you want to slide it. That's the easiest way. We know a trick or two because we've done this many a times. Because of our leak plus maintenance, we maintain our gun properly. So, and that's the easiest way. And all you do is take your tool along with that stuff, and it should find that hole very easily. Okay, now you just want to keep a constant slight pressure while you guide your grip back into place, and you want to look at that bolt and then put it into place and slowly turn it. Okay, you might need to play around with the angle until you get it right, and it should go in smooth all the way in, smooth and easy, no difficulty. If it's difficult or starts to have a restriction well before the bolt is even down, back it off and redo it, because that means you're potentially going to cross thread. Okay, so at the very last part, it becomes a little bit tight, and this mini turn, which is one full turn, normally almost one full turn, and that's all you need is three fingers. Make it nice and snug. You don't have to go crank it, because this ballistic polymer will end up cracking. You don't want to do that. Okay, and you're done. Put your bipod back, fill it to max pressure, and have fun. Shoot away. Now you won't have to worry about leaks, hopefully. with regards to the inlet fill port anyway, it won't leak anymore, because now you got a better piece, a proven piece, a known piece, with no fancy smancy O-ring with spring, with piston valve, blah blah blah. It's a nice design if it works, but yeah, no matter what you do, it's going to leak. So hopefully that will give you folks some confidence in doing the work yourself. Again, just remember, empty the pressure, be safe, and enjoy. All right. See you folks on the next one. Don't forget to share, subscribe, and like if you folks find this video and other videos on our channel helpful, all right, or interesting. Okay. Have a good one, and happy holidays, happy Christmas, happy New Year coming up soon, very soon. All right. Good luck. Thanks.
Lot of people on YouTube, you call me a homo, but you think I stand by this? Well, that shit is a no-go. You're all coming one, because when